What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. And apparently there's healing water right here. That's unfortunate, because I went all the way back to the last one. But oh well. So, last time around we defeated Barabure, and now we have to head towards the end of the game. However, before that, there is a chest that we can grab right here, with a king hat in it. Actually, do I have anything good that I can give Rand? Who can even... Oh, Sun Mask. Jeez, 300 defense. So no one... The king hat doesn't even do anything for me. Okay, anyways, this is a really big room. But as far as I'm aware, the only things in it beside that king hat are warp points that lead you back to, I assume, the entrance? I don't know where else they would go. So, we just want to head forward to this screen. And if we walk upwards, who is this floating man? Evan? I guess that's St.Eva. Nikanoru? Who is Nikanoru? I guess that's supposed to be Ryu? This is also a good point. I don't like how he, there's like a delay before he talks. Oh, okay. And all of a sudden we're in Crystal. I guess we broke out? That wasn't very hard. Goodbye. No! Don't do it! I like how that one was so brief. It's just like, Bo. They were friends. That's it. That's all their relationship consisted of. They were just friends. Now, at this point, you have to actually mash the control pad. You can see you kind of like shake a little bit. And this is another one of those times. You may have remembered at the beginning of this LP, I told you about how my game froze during the opening of the Dragon's Eye thing. And at this point in the game, I didn't realize you had to mash the control pad, so I thought my game had frozen again. But you do in fact have to mash the control pad in order to break out. So we just gotta move forward. Something burst within Ryu. And now get ready for the most epic thing ever! Oh man, that running animation. Break into pieces! Man, his aim's really not that great. I'm gonna be totally honest, that wasn't as epic as I remember, but it was pretty epic. A crumb? Well, that was easy. Ryu roar! Oh, hi there. So, we have exactly one goal in this battle. Use Anfini. That's quite the attack. There's like stars and stuff. That was a cool effect. Oh, hi there, Ryu. I mean, it's not much of a memory. It only happened, like, they only got smashed, like, 5 seconds ago. Plus, most of these people are still alive. In fact, all of these people are still alive. Hey, look, it's those people I met 2 minutes ago. Ryu thought about the world. Hey, look, it's that bird that I can't fly on anymore. We're back to life? That thing really is ugly. Roar, shaky, shaky, shaky. That's pretty... I can't think of the word. Okay, final boss time. Apparently the only reason Anfini even exists is to bring your party members back to life. Which is fine, I guess. So, our strategy for this fight. Ryu used Gold Dragon every turn. Rand. The only reason he's in this party is so that I can use... Where are they? Wise Balls. I want to use Wise Balls on Ryu every turn. That should allow him to use Gold Dragon on the next turn. Blue. Her job is to use Bolt X. Bo is going to use Cure 3 or Cure X every turn. And if he runs low on AP, Blue is going to use AP regenerating items on him. That is what we're going to do. Hopefully no nasty status effects come up that will mess with this plan, but we'll play it by ear. Counterattack? Yeah. Wow, 200 damage. That's pretty good considering this is the last boss of the game. It seems like Death Heaven is faster than Bo, so that's... I have technically I have two healers that can go after the boss, so that isn't ideal, but it works. I do know that Blue can go before him though, so that's good. Okay. So Death Evan here has 10,000 HP. Where did they go? There they are. So that turn I did about 1,200 damage? I guess more like 1,300. So yeah, that's about how this fight's gonna go. I honestly am not going to complain if he just keeps using his physical attack every turn. Especially if it's on Ryu, because obviously he can take it. Holy jeez, Ryu has more HP than Rand at this point. I mean, Rand's kind of underleveled, but still. Rand is like a beast as far as HP goes. So that's kind of unusual. So I'm doing about what? 1100 to 1200-ish damage every turn so far at this point. So I've done about 2500, I guess? Obviously it's not like super integral to keep track of these things, but I kind of mess up keeping track against Barbary, so I want to be a little bit more accurate. Ooh. That's a nasty little drain attack. That pretty much counteracted the damage that that last Bolt X did. Which would put this turn at about 3500 damage. Can you imagine how much... Oh, that only did 550? Why did it only do 550? That's weird. But can you imagine how much longer this... Oh, it drained their AP as well. Apparently? Okay. I'm gonna have to do something about that then. So blue this turn, you're going to use a Wise Ball on Bow. And you will continue to use Cure 3. As I've been trying to say anyways, can you imagine how much longer this fight would take if you didn't use G-Dragon every turn? This fight can take forever. It's ridiculous. So I believe I'm at 3000 damage done at this point. Because of the last turn only doing half, roughly. So that brings me up to about 4000. Okay. Glad I got so many Wise Balls. I'm kind of burning through them a little bit here. I mean, that's what they're there for, but... I'm not too worried about Blue running out of AP. Obviously, Boltex is pretty expensive, but ultimately, if she runs out of AP, I don't even necessarily want to worry about healing it. Ooh, that's not good. Like, it's not terrible, but it's going to delay me a little bit. Because, like, Blue's basically just kind of adding on damage wherever she can, really. I think she's probably done about 1000 total, which is not bad, but obviously Ryu is the primary source of damage here. So, what I'm going to do this turn... How should I play this? I guess Ryu will use a Wise Ball on himself. No, actually. Ryu is going to use a Life Pill on Rand. Blue is going to use Wise Ball on Ryu. And Bo is going to heal. Just that way, since Ryu goes last, there's no chance of Rand getting hit by whatever attack is coming out here. Not that it especially matters if he did get hit, but, you know, why not? Okay. So now we're pretty much back to normal here. That's our first stack of Wise Balls gone. I was a little bit, Actually, I think I'm going to use one on Bow this turn as well, instead of using another Boltex. My perception of how I would be spending these things seems to be a little bit off. I was expecting to use roughly half of them on Barbary and the other half on Death Evan. But obviously I only used like 2 of them on Barbary, so... I feel like I'm getting really lucky so far this fight. Like... I guess it's a little over half over at this point, and... Like, Death Heaven hasn't really done much. Almost every turn so far, he's just attacked Ryu. Which is like, okay, whatever. That doesn't really accomplish anything. So, I mean, I'm certainly not complaining about this fact, it's just kind of weird. Because, like, I remember this fight being really hard. Maybe not really hard, but definitely harder than this. Well, that's a start. Of course, it's still going to be completely negated by Cure 3, but whatever. I guess what it comes down to, in large part, is just the fact that I have so many Wise Balls to spam. Because I don't think that's ever been the case when I've been here before. It definitely helps being able to have basically unlimited AP. Unfortunately, I've completely lost track of how much damage, but I would guess I'm at about 7,000. It also kind of amuses me that Rand is like... his only reason for existing basically is spamming Wise Balls on Ryu, and yet that function is probably the most useful any of my party members is serving. I don't know, I guess this bow keeping everyone alive is pretty important. So, we should be just about done here. Getting pretty close. Not too much else to say, really. I mean, employing this strategy, this fight's a little bit of a joke, honestly. A little bit of AP goes a long way, as it turns out. Although I am actually starting to run a little low on Wise Balls. Originally, I was only going to take one stack of 9 in here, but I decided to go for a little bit more. Oh, another drain round. I think that's actually one of, if not the only attack in the game that actually drains both AP and HP. So that's kind of interesting. Although, I kind of wish he would have used it after I'd used a G-Dragon. But then again, I guess he's faster than Ryu, so there's, like, no way that that would even possibly happen. Well, Blue doesn't have any AP left, but at the same time, she should also be restoring bows anyways, so that works out just fine. Since I don't think I've ever actually mentioned it, the special ability that Blue has is called Shed. And basically what that does is it just restores her to full HP, so that can be kind of handy. Especially in this fight where if you do run out of AP, then healing can get really tight. So having the ability to just restore 300 HP can be pretty handy. Also, it occurs to me that I've never actually used Ryu's Guts ability. Like, I've used it, but I didn't end up using it that much throughout this game. Normally, I think I use it a lot more. But I guess I just annihilated everything, like Death Evan. Because it's kind of dead now. I find it kind of funny that this boss did the whole, like, shaky death like Final Fantasy bosses always do. When every other boss is just does the normal flashy death. It's kind of funny. Well, I don't exactly like it when people try to destroy the world. I mean, why do you want to kill them? I guess that's probably one of the bigger problems with the plot in this game is it's just like the whole like religious god that wants to destroy the world kind of thing is kind of neat actually. But they don't really explain this god's motivations very well. We did. So, now what? We didn't succeed over the dragon. That was not a dragon that we just killed. So, now what? Do I have to actually leave? I can't cast exit. Man, this is a long walkway. It's kind of weird to have that little scene with Bo. I guess that's the end. Oh, okay, here we go. So, now what? We just kind of look at people walk around? That's cool, I guess. So... what's with all this text? It's kind of weird to have this random text just popping up. Especially text that says the fatal child. Like, what does that even mean? Well, there's all the peoples. Everyone that we left behind. That's it. It's done. That's the end. For reals? Apparently not. Okay. I find it very strange the way they've like interdispersed these little like what appear to be like it makes me think like the credits are like starting, but they're not. What about the other Ryu? The Ryu from Breath of Fire 1? I don't wanna. Apparently. So I guess the Dragon Clan doesn't have any reason to exist anymore. Get out of here. We don't need you anymore. Didn't we already do that? What's with the sinister music? Huh? I don't understand. So yeah, Death Heaven got all electric-y. What? Well, that's inconvenient. You kind of left him behind. Save the world. Don't do it. You mustn't do it. Why would you even think that's a thing he's going to do? Now what? Oh, I guess that's supposed to be the township. But luckily, we saved Gaynor and got the flying township, so we get the good ending. Although, if I'm totally honest, I think it would make a better ending for the game if Ryu did transform to the dragon. It just seems more like dramatic and stuff. I don't know. Roar! Never mind how Gaynor even knows this is a thing that's happening. You might want to get out of the way. I like how Nina's just kind of like flying there like, oh hey, the ground's kind of shaky. Guess we better float in the air. Ultimately, like, I don't know what that even really accomplishes. Like, if it's that easy to seal the demons in, then just, I don't know, like, build a wall or something. Fill the mountain with cement. I don't know. Plus, there's, like, the other two entrances. I don't know if you're actually going to live that long. Plus, I feel like Township being there is going to be really inconvenient for the actual residents of Township. So it would seem. How did we even get back in the town? I don't know. Evil gods always seem to find a way. So, I guess this really is the end now? I just want the credits, man. That's a really odd-looking dragon tier. Okay, looks like we got credits for real now. Maybe? This is just listing off people from the game. Whatever, screw it. So, Breath of Fire 2. Ultimately, what my opinion on this game, like, when I was a kid, I loved this game so much. I played through it so many times on the Super Nintendo back in the day. It's one of the first actual, like, turn-based RPGs that I actually played through. And so because of that, like it's one of those games that's kind of always going to have like a special status to me, so to speak. But playing through it now, like when I kind of look at it with a more critical eye, there's actually not a whole lot to this game, honestly. Like, it was fun, and I definitely... A lot of people are a little, like, undecided on how they feel about the original English translation of this game, because obviously there's a lot of spots where it's a little iffy, it's kind of so-so. And like, a lot of things aren't really explained all that well, and there's a lot of lines that just don't quite click with the way English typically sounds, if that makes any sense. It's like, it seems like it's a poorly translated line, but at the same time that adds a lot of kind of like silliness to it that to me has a lot of charm. I really kind of appreciate how despite the fact that the game has such a surprisingly dark plot, there's actually a lot of silliness in this game. Like, how many games have dungeons, multiple dungeons, inside of toilets? It's just so crazy and ridiculous, and I just love that element of charm that the game has to it. But at the same time, like I said, like, the actual gameplay to Breath of Fire is actually pretty simplistic. Like, the battle system is full of... There's all these elements of stuff that is just never really explained, and you just have to kind of either guess or look it up or experiment and hope to figure out how this stuff works. Or there's stuff that's like bugged and just doesn't work at all. And even then, like, ultimately what it comes down to is most of the game you're just kind of walking around and then you get into a random battle and then you press A 4 times to do physical attacks on everything and hope it dies. I mean, I guess that's not that unusual when it comes to these kind of old style JRPGs, but I just feel like the battle system in particular in this game doesn't have as much depth as I remembered to it. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of like the game is too easy or something? Because like I feel like if there's a little bit more pressure for you to actually use your spells in random battles, then it would be a little bit more interesting, but I don't know. At the end of the day, like, despite whatever problems I might have with it, it's still a pretty interesting game. Like, its gameplay isn't super deep, but just the overall presentation of the game is really good. Like, the graphics are all, like, it's not super high fidelity, but everything about the game just has this kind of style and this really cool feel to it. Like, everything's really colorful, but then, like, if you look at stuff like the battles, like, it's kind of subtle. Like, the sprites are just, the sprites look really good, and there's all these little effects and stuff all over the place, and the UI is really smooth, and the music in this game is really good. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure that's a sprite that was made with the sole purpose of being in that one dragon tier. But like, yeah, like just the atmosphere of this game is so good. Like, even looking at this scene from Semaphore, like this, like that castle, it looks amazing. It's a castle in the water. There's all this like water flowing all over this place, and there's lily pads, and it's kind of hard to describe, really, but just the style of this game is so awesome, and the aesthetic just, it carries it for a lot of the game. It's not as visually impressive as something as, say, like Star Ocean or Phantasy Star, or even, say, like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI, or even something like Secret of Mana or Seiken Densetsu 3. It's kind of funny how most of the games I just listed off were never actually released in North America. But, like, the point is, like, the actual graphics of this game are not as impressive as those ones, but just the style of how it's all put together is just really charming. And I guess that's what this game comes down to, is it has so much charm, and it goes a long way, in my opinion. Especially when you're, like, I think when you're looking at an older game like Breath of Fire 2, that's the kind of thing that really counts. Because when you're looking at a game that was released in, what did it say, 1994 or something like that, like, you don't expect it to be super awesome, amazing in every way. Like, it's going to be a simpler game. Like, sure, like, Breath of Fire 2 suffers from a lot of the old school RPG syndromes of like high encounter rate, not really telling you where you're supposed to be going, what you're supposed to be doing as well as it could, stuff like that. But I find that it's the games that have that charm that really survive the test of time the best. I mean, look at Chrono Trigger. That game is just dripping with charm, and is one of the most timeless games ever, as far as I'm concerned. And I wouldn't say that Breath of Fire 2 quite lives up to that standard, but it's pretty darn good. Like, you know, when you're playing through it again, you kind of know what you're getting into. And sure, the random battles are a little annoying, and okay, yeah, sometimes it's a little weird trying to figure out, okay, where am I supposed to actually go now, but in the end of the day, what it comes down to is, I don't even know who that is. Oh, it's that rebel lady, whatever her name was. But you know, in the end of the day, that Breath of Fire 2 is going to be a fun game to play through. If you enjoy the old school Japanese RPG style games, then Breath of Fire 2 has a lot to offer you. And that's kind of what I appreciate about it. I played through the game several times now, over my entire life, and I've never been disappointed by it. I've always enjoyed playing it. It's always been a fun experience. And there's a lot of surprisingly epic moments in it. Like, the whole ending sequence with Barabare, and then you're fighting Death Evan, and all your party members die, and all that stuff, that's some pretty cool stuff. And I can really appreciate just how dark the plot is in general, because I've said a few times through the game, like, that is not something... Okay, so it's not actually possible to get all of those shamanized characters at the same time, I don't think. Oh no, maybe you can. Yeah, because I think you can do Cat with just Shin, Sten with Sana, Spoo, and then I guess Jean. I'm pretty sure that combination is Seni, Sesso. So maybe you can. I completely lost my train of thought now. Where was I? I don't know. Breath of Fire 2 is just a fun game. It's not as amazing as I remember, but it's really good. I'm glad I played through it, and I hope you enjoyed watching me play through it, even if I cut out most of the random battles because they were nothing but hitting attack a whole bunch. So with that said, I leave you here for this Let's Play presentation.